All right, I'm Laura Ingraham. This is the Ingraham Angle from Washington tonight. Exposing the Senate Psych-out. That's the focus of tonight's angle.
Now it looks like as the Republicans scale back, the U.S. Senate race is in play right now.
Trump's handpicked Senate candidates might ruin the Republicans' chances for retaking the chamber.
Is it time to actually believe that the Democrats can keep the House?
All right, right off the bat, let me be very clear tonight. Most of what you're hearing about the Republicans' so-called dire position in the midterm Senate races, even the House sometimes, it's designed to do one thing: demoralize the conservative base and then depress turnout. Every single one of these candidates, we'll focus on the Senate tonight, deserves to win over their liberal opponents. It's not even close here. Now's not the time for second-guessing or see I told you soing. You all know that I supported Dave McCormick, right, in Pennsylvania over Mehmet Oz. You know, that was clear. I did it night after night. But look, Oz won. He's the nominee. And he's working his tail off. He's traveling the state, meeting with every voter he can, trying to win over as many as possible. John Fetterman, he's a younger, balder Joe Biden, but in gym rat clothing. He's a trust funder in a hoodie using clever consultants and ad men to campaign for him. Now, he can't actually argue, Fetterman can't, that the Democrat Senate is somehow good for Pennsylvania. That's a joke. Of course, for what they've done on the fracking issue alone, these people need to be thrown out on their butts. But the press, they want Republicans to believe all hope is lost for these Trump-endorsed candidates. And yeah, I get it. In an ideal world with a totally objective press corps, they'd all be doing better. Okay, fair. But you fight with the army you have, not the army you wish you had. So here's where our political soldiers are in some key races. This was according to the website 538. In Ohio, it's now a statistical tie between American First conservative J.D. Vance and phony populist Tim Ryan. Now in Georgia, favorite son Herschel Walker is less than 2 points down on uber-liberal Raphael Warnock. In Nevada, open borders nightmare incumbent Catherine Cortez Masto is up by nearly 4 on Adam Laxalt. Mark Kelly, who's been a rubber stamp for Chuck Schumer on everything, leads Blake Masters. Again, he's a young guy, never run before, by 8 or so. And in the most expensive race in America, in Pennsylvania, we're supposed to give up all hope because they say that Uncle Fester is beating Dr. Oz by 10.4 points. Okay. Let me remind everyone, it's only the end of August. Most people aren't even following these races yet. But they are following their family budgets. They know that we're already in recession, says 68% of those polled by NBC. The Democrats are so bad for America that now 58% believe that our best days are behind us. So if pessimism were a growth stock, the Democrats would be long in it. Americans are getting poorer and weaker with liberals running the show. The media knows this. The Democrats know this. The candidates running on the fantasy of climate change and abortion, they know it, and they don't care. 74% of Americans are now saying the country is going in the wrong direction. That is a staggering figure. So I get that the left wants to cement some narrative in place about Republicans being on the ropes. It is all wishful thinking. I'm telling you this. Now, there's some other polling out there that you might want to consider as well. Trafalgar is a fairly accurate outfit. They have Vance up by 5 in Ohio, Laxalt up by 3, and Oz only down 4 in Pennsylvania. Now, notice how Democrats, while all this is swirling around, you notice how they never, ever attack each other? Pelosi even got the squad to quiet down. That was some feat. But leave it to the GOP establishment to shoot inside the tent just in time for the midterms.
There's probably a greater likelihood the House flips than the Senate. Senate races are just different. They're statewide. Candidate quality has a lot to do with the outcome.
It's McConnell's way, I guess, of saying, see, I told you so. And just as the media swooned with Liz Cheney when she goes rabid on Trump, they swoon over McConnell when he throws cold water on the populace.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but Mitch McConnell is right.
Mitch McConnell is right about candidate quality.
I agree with Mitch McConnell. Can't believe I'm saying this. I agree with him that the quality of candidate really does matter much more.
Now, we do not need the Senate Majority Leader playing the role of a political pundit. We have plenty of those. Look, it's no secret that McConnell prefers old-style Republicans to the new populists of the Josh Hawley, Ted Cruz variety. The new GOP is icky to the old guard, and they felt that way long before Trump. Remember, the rise of the Tea Party movement in 2009, that was when I was back on the radio, that worried them a lot. They were a bunch of xenophobes, conspiracy theorists, and isolationists. And then after Trump, when he showed up, they added cultists to that list. Yet the truth is, the real outliers in the Republican Party are the Bush Republicans. They've been out of step with their own voters for years. Really, if you want to be precise about it, pretty much back to the 2006 midterms. We knew all we had to know back then. Then back in 2016, the Republican ruling class, they wanted Jeb to be president. But no offense, the GOP base wanted a fighter to stand up for them. They still want that. Yet they get a party leadership that too often treats them, they feel, like second-class citizens. And then when Trump wowed everyone, when he became president, rattling the old Chamber of Commerce hold on the party, the old guard, they weren't happy. They tolerated Trump, but they never really respected him. And beyond the tone and the style of Trump, they recoiled at his positions on China trade, immigration, and the long wars we'd been fighting. Of course, then the post-election frenzy and January 6th, all that mayhem, those riots, that didn't just give the Democrats a storyline of democracy under attack, it gave the GOP establishment an out as well. Senator McConnell, these are the candidates we have, and the left is descending upon them with vicious ad campaigns and huge war chests. Thankfully, McConnell's super PAC is spending in key races. That's good. But think of how much more could be raised if Republicans and even independents thought it was all for one, one for all. And McConnell, maybe, just maybe, seems to be getting the message. Here he was today.
Flipping the Senate, what are the chances? It's a 50-50 proposition. We got a 50-50 Senate right now. We got a 50-50 nation. And I think the outcome is likely to be very, very close either way. So, but the stakes will be big. Because if both the House and the Senate flip, I think the president will be a moderate. He won't have any choice.
Okay, again, we need less of a pundit and more of a leader. Rally the troops. We don't need the number count from McConnell. We need the troops rallied for America. Now, it was entirely rational for GOP voters who want to change the Senate, not just to empower the old GOP establishment, but in these primary races to choose candidates whom they believe will actually do the right thing if they're elected. So instead of complaining about our candidates or kind of being wishy-washy on them, we should recognize that this group is actually great. Our nominees, with a few exceptions, like Colorado, are political newcomers. They haven't had a lot of experience, but that's okay. They're out there fighting for the average person. They should be respected for getting in the ring. This is a great makeup to the change of the Senate, and we should be excited about an opportunity to switch things up in the GOP. Of course, we could have nominated a bunch of Romney clones, and then the press would be happier with us, but that would have been bad for the country. The whole point of this movement is that we need a party that looks out for regular, hardworking Americans. Yes, blue-collar Americans. It doesn't just go along with whatever the media or the globalists want. We've tried that. It doesn't work. But now's not the time for score settling. Certainly not the time for backbiting. I don't want to do it. Now's the time to win, to take back the Senate, stop the Biden wrecking ball from destroying what's left of America. If our GOP leadership really cares about the future of this country as much as they say they do, they'll do everything in their power to elect every single one of these GOP candidates. And that's the angle. And now to tonight's breaking news. Just hours ago, President Trump's legal team requested the appointment of a special master to act as a third party in screening those seized materials from Mar-a-Lago for potentially privileged or even classified information. Now, in their request, the former president's lawyers note that law enforcement is a shield that protects Americans. It cannot be used as a weapon for political purposes. Now, my view here is that Trump has been most successful when he's on the offensive. So it was indeed good news to see that the latest legal response to the raid is going on the offense.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.